Hi, and welcome to The New Normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. And today we have SL369 and Sue Hud all the way from England. So we are excited to introduce you to a new gifted friend, and we're going to see some price predictions and see what she has to say about what is coming up that we can see for the future of cryptos and other things in the market. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, SL. So good to have you. And Susan, I love your beautiful Christmas tree. Thank you for joining us all the way from England. And I had your little puppy there for a minute. I was hoping
he's lying there behind the cushions by the tree.
Okay.
He likes the smell of the tree. So
we might have them joining us again. SL, can you tell us how you heard about Susan, or where you found Susan to bring this treasure to us from England?
Yes, thank you for having me. And I really appreciated that Susan had agreed to collaborate with me. So a few of my members actually had reading with Susan had beginning this year, and they share a summary of the reading. And then there was one particular member, she's really fond of Susan. She talks to Susan all the time. And then she shared the predictions and we tracked it, and it's really good. Susan had really high accuracy rate. And I watched a few of Susan's video and I really liked her vibe. She's very humble, there's no sense of like arrogance, or she has a lot of compassion in her vibe and body and the language, and she wants all the goodness for the humanity and the community. And I don't see any ego from her vibe, her voice, her predictions. And the one thing that I think, besides some astrologers and Susan's, this year I only see Susan and I think Jill and some other astrologer on social media actually call some of the either the market crash or BTC, the highs and the high and the low with accurate price and timeline. Susan is very good with predicting timeline, and she has been getting a lot of training from her spirit guide. I spoke with Susan once or twice. I think this within the past few months, and I was really impressed with Susan's ability, not only on personal readings, but also reading my gift and sort of like forward into the future. I already have some information in my hand because I got some information and she's confirmed on. And also she provide some general crypto predictions. It's aligned with what I got. My group love her, and I has been asking my spirit guide, and I also asked my spiritual teacher of all the people that my group is introducing to, who's the best persons, and I went down the list. We said no to a bunch, and luckily Susan said yes, and my spiritual teachers said yes, and we are here.
Well, I know when you forwarded some of the information that and on one of the readings that Susan had done, it really resonated with me. And so I was excited to meet Susan, and I'm ready. I want to jump in to hear what Susan has to say. So SL, you want to start off and
well,
yes.
First of all, I'd just like to tell everybody that I don't really understand the cryptocurrency myself whatsoever. So I'm too lazy to look into it on the internet. When I look at it, I always say it's so mind blowing so for me, I just ask Spirit a question and then they give me the energies. They put it through my body. They either tell me and say to me, yes, no, can be very straightforward, or what they will do is they will give me an option. Or I go through the months of the year and I say, you said this is good. Is this good? What month? January, February, March. And then I break it down to the weeks and say first week, second week, third week, or fourth week, just to get sort of a little bit more accurate information from them. But I always say to everybody, you have to use your gut intuition. It's your own energy, because different people will speak to me at different times and I'll say, yeah, this coin's really good, but it could be just good for them at this particular time. And then other coins maybe not quite so good. And I'm saying that those are the ones, when you're ready to sell on, those are the ones you should be getting rid of, because you're never really going to make too much on those. Them and your energy don't really work together. So I basically cheat. I cheat by asking somebody else, by asking my spiritual guides to just give me the information so I can get as best as I can. But I'd like to thank you both for all the compliments at the beginning. It's very hard to be sat here and listening to people talking about you so highly. So good job.
That's really interesting that you're talking about how much the coins tie into that person when you're doing the readings, because I've noticed that with different cryptos, it seems like there's like a vibe or an energy with each community.
Absolutely.
Like they have a personality with each community. So that's really interesting.
Yes, they do. It's just basically like people's birth signs, where some people get on with water signs better than air signs or fire signs, and they're just more compatible with it. It's exactly the same with the cryptocurrency. So usually what I do is I get people to say, I say it once I've given them all the information. I say, right, just give me a quick rundown on the ones that you have. And they go, well, I've got hundreds or I've got loads. I go, okay, give me a quick rundown. And they usually pick the ones, first of all, the ones they like. And so they go down through those ones first of all, and I go, yes, 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 no. And then I say no, and then I tell them why, or I say when that one's not very good for them and why it's not. And most of it is just personality and energy with the company and actually what's going on. Well, this is a very interesting latter end of the year. Now, you're going to find out how well you're going to be doing with your cryptocurrency by what actually went on about 8 days ago. So if you go back over the last 8 days and say, well, how did I get on then? Did I fare pretty well, or did I lose bags? Because those that lost during that time, you'll have another period of losing on exactly the same coins, but that's going to be the latter end of February going into March time, because March is a big clear out with the cryptocurrency. It's going to be the strong ones that are going to be around for a very long time. So it's a very significant month when it comes to it, but it's a reflection of what's already just gone on. So if you've had some amazing successes during that time, imagine how amazing it's actually going to be. And I know not many people are not saying there's going to be an exciting year for cryptocurrency next year. But I've been absolutely assured by Spirit that it absolutely is going to be a cracking year, that more people are going to invest in it and be really interested in it. And even a lot of the smallest currencies are going to actually do quite well. But some of them are just limited periods. Now, I have been given a couple.
Susan?
Yes?
I have a list of questions. Can we go in order?
Yes, that's
awesome.
Fine.
Thank you. So I think you were mentioning a little bit of information, but can you tell us March and April, is it a good month to take profit in 2022?
I would take it before March. I would get it ready. So the latter end of February time, I will be ready to take it. April is going to be extraordinarily exciting. And so you have to have it with the coins that you have the most faith in during the month of the latter end of March. But April is going to be about profits all the way, big profits during that time. I can't tell you how excited I am going to be for the crypto world during that time. There's going to be a new form of Bitcoin during that time. So if you're investing in Bitcoin, I don't see that hardly even being around, certainly without the same people that are running it now. There will be fresh faces, new ideas, new stuff. It'll be a real clear out with the company, and it's going to be a new Bitcoin. But there will be some of the same people in it that will start off, and that's what's going to create some more excitement. But I see other ones. I see the biggest earner during next year in particular is going to be Shiba, and that I'm very excited about. And another one, which is Armstrong. And I haven't heard anything, and everybody that I've spoken to when it's come through that I've got that, and everybody says, I've never even heard of it. I don't even know if it exists. And I said, in my world, it doesn't matter if it doesn't exist. It means it's about to. And then when it does come on the scenes, you need to buy it for England, basically, because it's going to do really well. And Spirit
is it possible when you hear a word like Armstrong, could that be like a symbol that you're seeing, but it could be another word? Or is it actually that word when you get messages like that?
No, it can be. It's usually associated. Well, I always associate it with the moon and space. And so I would be looking at spacey games or things here to do with the moon or those type of things. That's how it resonates with me. And Spirit always gives me something that I can understand. So it will give me like a game. And I don't play games. I've never played a game in my life. So I don't understand that world at all. But so they give it to me in things here that will resonate with me and say, well, that's what you need to be looking at. What's that association for you? What does it mean to you? And they always talk in what I call easy language. And usually they'll say, you know, it's a game or it's a new business, it's a new currency that's coming in, but it will be very strong. And all the info that will be put up about it, there will be sort of like very spacey pictures and to do with like Neil Armstrong and people like that. There'll be a lot of things like that that you'll be able to go,
Armstrong.
That's the company. Yeah, so that's where I think it's sort of resonating. That. Yeah, those type of things that is all going to come in. It's all going to be around a very spacey time.
That makes sense with all the stuff that just happened with Elon Musk putting up satellites for Turkey and the stuff with NFTs and all the things that are happening in the world right now.
Well, that's going to make things even more exciting. I think that we're going to be using the new technology and that from space, and we'll be using it even before the end of this year. I think after the Christmas period, when we possibly go into maybe 1 or 2 days, we're going to go into several hours of darkness, but that's just when technology goes down for a small amount of time. I don't think it's going to be quite as mad and crazy as what a lot of people say when they think it's going to go on for weeks. It's not going to be going on quite so long, but I do feel that we're going to have periods like 3 or 4 hours, first of all, just to build us up. And then we might have a day, no more than 2 days. I don't think it'll go past 2 days that we'll go into it. And then all the new technology will be in. And it's almost like it's forcing us to change over to it, to try something different. And all our technology then will be working so much better and easier and quicker, and without all the restriction. And then you've got the new websites and media channels and that they're all going to be set up for February time. To me, possibly even a little bit earlier, maybe the last week in January, because that's all a big technology and it's all to do with communication. And I would see that by that time, that's where TVs and things like that could be brought down and the truth could be found out what's actually been going on. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, last night I saw Jack tweeting about new decentralized communication being rolled out, and they're connected with Twitter or Tesla. And anyway, we're getting way off topic. So let's go back to the cryptos and focus on, you were talking about March and April being this new currency.
Yes.
SL, where do you want to go from SL? Where do you want to go from there?
So, Susan, so the community is really, they're very specific. They want to know month by month. So in March, do you know what week in March we can take profit?
The first week, I would say quite early in the month, certainly between the 6th and the 8th. It's that very early time that's going to be much easier to take profit, because otherwise there'll be so many people there sort of waiting and going, I think I'll wait that little bit longer, and then they'll go into it when it drops quickly. I would say the second week is more likely going to drop very quickly before it starts building up towards the last week. The last week in the month is going to be very much more exciting. The closer we get to April, the bigger the profits are going to be. So if you've got nerve, then I would say hang on to your nerve, just ride the storm, ride the way that it just goes up and down. And then when you get to April time, you'll be able to sit back and say, thank goodness I waited, because I waited this very important time. And I see everything exploding then. Everybody be talking about it. All countries and that will be jumping on board. There's not going to be so many restrictions and that with governments coming in. They're not going to be saying they're going to be stealing half your money off of you, which is what they're trying to plan to do now. They're saying the crypto world, we've got to tap into that money. They're getting too rich and we're not getting nothing. We need to get something. So there's all these false ideas here of how they're going to tax you or get money from you and that. And no matter what, it's not going to go through. It's just a false flag at this moment in time to make you nervous, to hope that you will sell some of your coins so that they can invest and buy in it. And then they can have the best of the coins for a bit later. So best month of the whole year is definitely going to be April time. It's going to be thrilling and exciting. May time is what I call it's the natural month. It's a month where Mother Earth comes in and she does her stuff. And so with that, there's not going to be such a big investments. It's all going to be to starting with what I call materialistic things. It's going to be a very materialistic month. It's going to be about rebuilding homes and things like that. So it's a lot more things there. And the cryptocurrency ends up going a little bit quieter. It will be about spending during that month. And so that month is going to show new ways of being able to use cryptocurrency for spending. Is going to make it sort of like the norm just for back in the shops and things like that. A lot more people will be buying houses and transport and things like that, all with the cryptocurrency. It's going to open up a completely different, huge market for you. And then you'll find June time. And June time begins that little bit of excitement inside of me. It's not as good. It's more like the latter end of February time when I'm just beginning to wake up. So people would just beginning to wake up and they'll be looking at ways to invest bigger lumps of sums of money during that time. So people are going to have a lot more money in their pocket during that June time. And even though I would say things are going to be a lot more wobbly, especially to do with I would say the ones in the top 10 are going to be pretty much more safe. And I've no idea at this moment. Obviously, I know Bitcoin's in the top 10, but apart from that, I haven't got a clue what's up there whatsoever. And I would say there's going to be a new shuffle. So there's going to be newer companies that go shooting up. Like I said, I've no idea what is up there. I've got a second bite here for DigiByte during that time. So DigiByte is going to come storming up through, but I feel that's the second bite. And I feel next year is about companies that are going to have a second bite of the cherry. So they've obviously been around before. And that's where I think that Bitcoin will then start coming back. There'll be good conversations, lots of internet stuff about the new Bitcoin and the new way that they're doing it. But still hang on to the coins that you've got there because they're definitely not going to disappear completely and people will very quickly run to it. But I would say the top three in particular, possibly the top five, but definitely the top three that are going to be the new ones that are there during June will be ones that will be up to the megabucks. So they'll be up to what Bitcoin is up now and higher than that. So they're going to be up there. So it's going to be real big ones. So I'm expecting Shiba to be well up there over 100,000. So it's going to be very big and very exciting during that time. So this is going to be a time where you have to look at what are you going to do with that? Are you going to take a chance that it might drop a little bit later? And I do believe that first week in July is going to be a very wobbly time. So something is beginning to change during the last week in June for it to start falling down very slightly. So we've got a little bit of a dip during that first part of July, that first week in July. And then afterwards, it gets back to normal where it starts going up and down. So it's going to be much more like the sea during the rest of July, where it's going to be up one day, down the next day, up, and it's just going to be wobbling like this all over the place. And then you've got here the new ones that are done with each country. So each country will have a cryptocurrency that they're going to truly back. They're going to do everything with it. And you'll see XRP that be really smiling like anything during that time because several countries are going to back it and take it on. And so they're going to be talking about it like that's better than going to the bank. So they're going to be talking about the cryptocurrency like it's better than putting your money in the bank, which
Susan,
is going to
awesome.
be. Yeah.
So yeah, I will take note about where you left off regarding XRP, that some country will adopt their technologies. So in April, do you know what week in April people can take profits?
Okay, yeah, people can take profits on the coins. Do you want to know what coins that they need to take profit on during that time?
Can you provide us like the timeline and then talk about the coin?
Excuse me.
Okay, right. So the timeline for all of the, like Shiba, I would keep investing, just keep rolling it over, taking any profit and trying to roll it back over into even the same company, and that just getting more and more and building up that. That's very good. You got here V World, which is going to be running along beside Shiba as well. So that's going to be one. And you're going to find with that, it may be a little bit slow until we get February. But after February, even March, when it's going to be getting a little bit quieter for a lot of the coins, you will find that V World ends up sort of like building itself up and actually taking off or beginning to take off then. And I think that's another one that people are going to be very much more excited about. So I think it's the smaller ones that are coming in now that are being more talked about over the next few weeks that are going to be the best teams, the best players to be alongside. So for me, that's where I would be focusing all of my energies on, those new ones, or the ones that are coming back for their second bite, like DigiByte. That is going to get very exciting during February and March, and ease off very slightly in April time, and then start building up again in May. So all the periods where everything else and that have been really thriving starts going a little bit quieter, you find those quieter ones then all of a sudden start jumping in, and they're going to be the ones that people make quick amounts of money on, but only for a short time. I would say that those are going to be over the next 3 or 4 years, especially DigiByte. I think we're talking like at least 3 years that it's still going to be around, and it's what I call a long-term saver. So if you're a saver and you don't like keep moving things around, those are the ones to sort of put your energy into and get as much as you can, and then just leave it there and then see how it goes, because you'll always find by the end of the year that you've got a lot more than what you would have had. The only time that every coin has to be very concerned or very careful, and that's the very first week in November time. And for some reason, the last few days in October time does a clearing out of coins or companies, and that all of a sudden go through a bit of a wobbliness during that time. And that's where you do have to watch it. We've got here some powerful energies this year when it comes to the cryptocurrency, those that are going to extremely do really well, and those that you're going to say, well, I've had this for months and it really hasn't done anything. So you have to look at the difference. It seems to be as well, the more stupid the name for a cryptocurrency, the more that you can't really say it, the better the company is actually going to do. Anything here associated with cartoons and those type of weird names and are going to be companies that particularly do well during the latter end of the year. So from August onwards, right round to December time, which is going to be sort of thrilling for those that can manage to say the name. And I know there are a couple of really strange ones out there that clients have said to me, well, I've invested in this company. I say, yeah, one of those companies that you can't pronounce the name, or you're not sure that you're even saying it right. But the cartoony forms and that the gaming industry is going to actually do quite well, because people are going to want something to do or want things to do this year. And they're still not prepared enough to relax, to go out and really enjoy themselves. So this is changing where the crypto's going.
Oh my God. This is awesome information. I think it's very similar. Your timeline for DigiByte is very similar to my other friend, Jill, astrologer. She said February, March, and a little April. So then in April, originally I thought you said to my member that April we may have a crash.
That's only for what I call smaller coins, is changing around. The crash that comes in through then is going to be the Bitcoin. That is going to be the one.
Oh, yes.
So it's been going through difficulties now. It's got another difficult patch in January, and then in March time, it's going to be shaken to pieces during that time. So during that time, people are going to really lose faith. There's going to be lots of people wanting to sell it. So if you're looking for it for a long-term investment to then buy it and then just wait and for a couple of years for it to get really mega strong like it is or like it has been, then you might have to hang on to the coins and know that you're not going to get anything for a while. Until about possibly a 2-year period. Then after that 2-year period, you're going to be back there seeing the happy sounds or feeling the happy vibrations that you had sort of earlier on this year. I know there's been lots of things being talked about with Bitcoin saying that they broke all records, but I actually believe that the new boys and girls that are going to be on the top, that are coming up during this June and onwards are going to be the real record breakers. And that's where I think the real records are going to come in. So record breaking year for the cryptocurrency, and especially those that are up in the top. I've got Polkadot, which for some reason I always like that. That always gives me the best shudder. It gives me a wonderful shudder. So I actually think that Polkadot's going to do really well. And that could be up in the real big price brackets that you'll be looking at Bitcoin doing now and even higher in the very near future. So I think that one's going to run away with profits, and that I think XRP will run away with it. And then people will think, well, do you know something? I don't trust governments. So if I don't trust governments now and they're recommending this, maybe I should run away from it. So people might then start selling it or being a little bit crazy with it. And that's the time to have your money saved back and ready to buy. So be ready to buy. Always have some money in storage, and any time that it makes something sensible, then make sure you cream it off and put it there for a rainy day. Don't leave everything to the last moment. I know you guys out there live on your nerves and you can deal with that, but my heart can't take it. My heart just says to me, there's profit there, take it off quickly, hide it away, and then we'll use this for something else. But you have to be there. You have to be that person who's ready to take a little bit of a risk. And I would say this year has its patches of risk. March is any investment in March is a risk. April is not a risk. It is an exciting month all round. If you lose anything during April time, well, to be quite honest, you're not in the right job. You're not in the trade that really suits your energy. So you've either got to change your coins, or you've got to sort of think to yourself, well, what am I doing wrong here? How am I not getting anything in the biggest profit month of all? And then when we look at it, we're looking at sort of July time, which has a couple of weeks and that are going to be really exciting for those that like the speedy energy, because everything is fast. If you sit around and snooze next year, you lose big time, because things are going to go up hugely overnight. So
can I take us back really quick? Yeah. Just, I know we're deep into next year, but I want to kind of look at, here we are. Today is December 22nd.
Yeah.
21. So we're kind of bookend as far as like numerology, and we're in these last few days of December. Do you see a crash by the end of the year? Can you kind of give us a micro look at just to the end of the year for crypto and what those coins are specifically?
I think the 24th is going to be quite a good day. I think I know there's going to be excitement in the crypto world on the 24th. That's going to be a good day. I think on Christmas Day, you're just going to have to go with the flow of it a little bit more. It means it's not going to excite you, but it is something to keep your eye on. I think if anything, you'd be just as likely to get some good bargains. I think the 26th is going to be very much like today. So however your coins went today, you'll find the 26 is pretty much more the same. You won't have lost much more and you won't have gained much more. It's going to be that bouncing along. But anything here, the 27th and 28th is really going to wake you up. The 28th in particular, that's going to be where you decide whether you're happy with what you've got or whether you need to change in a different direction. It's going to be a power day. So any losses on that day will be big. You'll feel like the universe has given you a good kick up the backside to say to you, do you know, that's really no good for you. So the ones you really lose on during that time, you will want to just let go of and completely say enough is enough during that time.
So
Sorry,
that's
my
kind of
dog's
a
just woken up
reflection,
now.
kind of a preparation or a reflection to get ready for next year. Kind of, that's kind of a school
to get
time
ready.
for next year.
But it's the last few days are the hardest ones. They're the ones that are really going to shake up everybody with the cryptocurrency during then, because that's when there's going to be lots of threats and, like I said, misinformation about rules and regulations and that, and it's going to scare people. And people are going to say, well, they're definitely going to do that. They've been talking about that, yes,
SL,
for a while. So be careful on those days.
Yeah, SL has a question.
Yeah.
So April, the market will go up a lot. In what week? So we have a lot of questions that I would like to go through. So I don't know if we have time to go through everything. You have so much knowledge, and the spirits are giving you so much information. It's like non-stop. But
sorry, I know when I start, I never know when to stop. They just go blah 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 and say it to me. I'm really sorry. Just shut me up.
So April, do you know what week in April people that the market? I don't really like. I have particular coin that I will ask you. So people care about the whole market. So in April, do you see any week in April that the market either crash that people can take profit? Crash.
Okay, if we're going for crashing, or the lowest part of April will be the first 4 to 5 days in April. After that, it's all going to be rising. They're all going to have something exciting and rising. I would say the signs are going to be the very end of April, March, going into April time. It's that March time that shows you the coins that are not going to do well, and then they'll continue losing in those first couple of days. After that, if it makes profit in the first couple of days, hang on to it, because it's going to make profit all month. It's going to be one of those months where you have to be pretty bad for it not to make any profit. They're all going to make some kind of profit during there.
Yeah.
And SL, did you want to ask about specific coins for April, SL?
Not yet, because there's 11,000 coins. It's like quite impossible to go down the list.
Oh, is there that many? Crikey. I was thinking there's probably only about 100.
Okay, so April, the first 4 days in April, there's a crash. How about June?
And June, I would say the first couple of days in June are going to be the worst. But I think that the uncertainty in the market is going to last the first 8 days. And that's where that uncertainty, so it won't climb very much, but you'll be hardly worth even checking your internet to see how much has gone up. It's just going to be going up that slowly, only what I call pence, small amount.
Yeah, so in June, I don't know, what do you call them? Correction dip? What do you see? How big is the correction or pullback in June?
Right. Well, the first part, it's nothing, because you've already been through the worst, because you can't get any worse than what March is, apart from that very beginning of November time. And then whatever you suffered in March, if you suffered massive losses, you will during that same 8 to 11 days in November time. That's when you'll suffer exactly the same again. It's like they're saying to you, did you not learn anything from
November of 2021? November 2021?
No, 22.
Okay.
22, because it's showing you the same mirror effect that went on in December time, this last week and 8 days that have gone on now, how you fared then with your coins. And then it's going to show you a bigger shock to the system of saying, yes, this is for you, or no, this isn't for you, or change this around. Because everybody then will be saying, no, I've hung on to that for far too long. I need to get rid of that. But it's going to be what I call the waking up to the cryptocurrency. People are going to begin to understand it. It's going to get exciting. There's a lot of new faces, and they're just going to be investing in anything by the sound of the name. And they're going to say,
then what month? Sorry, I interrupt you. Then what month in November 2022, that we will have a crash?
Yeah.
What week? What week in November 2022?
I would say 2022 will be that first week, round about the 8th to the 11th, sort of round about there, just barely going into the second week. There will be a big during that.
Mm-hmm. Then
that's only after the 11th. It'll all start creeping back up again. So for those of you that panicked and sold during that time, then you'll regret it, because it will start picking up straight away. But it will be the biggest crash, because like I said, during the summer, there's going to be a lot of coins that are up in the really big figures. And then that you can't just keep going up and up and up. I know you all think you can, but as they say, what goes up must come down, and it's going to drop down. So it could drop thousands during that time. It will be a big whack, a big wake up call. Just exactly the same. What's going to happen to the Bitcoin during the March time, the same is going to happen then. It will be a massive drop down. So it's a drop, then it starts recovering very slightly, Bitcoin, and then it's going to be another massive drop down again. And
in the same month, in November?
Yes, in November time, it'd be a different company. So it's not going to run away. The Bitcoin is not going to run away with it like it is now. And everybody else is going to get much, much closer to it. So it's not going to be some here that are only worth a few dollars and then some that are worth thousands and thousands. The gap's going to be a lot closer. Coins, you're going to look at it down through the list and say, oh, well, that's good. They're sort of pretty much here in a good place. They're all going to be much closer. It's not going to be this huge gap. So
okay, then sorry, can we backtrack to March? So then, yes. What week in March 2022 the community should be concerned about the crash? Like I think we want to know like how much it will crash, like what percentage or what price.
Right. Well, I would say the percentage is going to be massive, almost as big as it's ever been before. Like Bitcoin, if it's still managed to survive the crash that it's going to have in January, then it's going to be far bigger than that. It's going to be a real cutting down to half of what it is. It's going to be a big drop, a huge drop, an eye-opening drop.
Wow. Do you know what week people should be look out for the crash in March?
Right. Well, you should be watching that towards the latter end of February, because February is going to show you coins that are starting to drop, but drop each day. You'll be going, oh, well, this one is, continually going on and keep dropping all the time. And that's where you're going to see the signs. And it's going to be those companies that are going to go into April, not be able to handle the energy and really end up dropping down. So the signs are going to be shown to you just before, within a 2-week period before. If your coin is jumping all over the place and really dropping down, then know that it's not going to survive April time. Those that make profit in February are really going to steamroller the world when it comes to April. April is the star month. It's the month that you'll get your best out of it. All the other months and that will be showing you massive up and downs and that. But April should bring joy to everybody's heart in some shape or form. So, which is nice and exciting to look forward to.
That's amazing. How about let's backtrack to January. I'm sorry, I'm going backward. So January, what week in January is the biggest crash? Is the crash?
I would say from the 15th onwards, for certainly that the week of the 15th going up to about the 25th is going to be very hard for the Bitcoin. And you've got a killer day, which is not a nice thing to say, but on the 28th, that's going to be a shake of other coins and that around that may be associated. So watch for Bitcoin Cash and that, even though that's going to be, they're all going to be great survivors, apart from the Bitcoin that's going to sort of really half its value during that time. So you're going to be looking then at seeing anything here that people will say, oh, that's probably the same team, or you see what I said about this name association and that people are going to have. So they're going to be looking at it. So you could find around the 28th or on the 28th in particular, that those other coins and that could have a little bit of a drop during that time, unless it works well with your energy. So if it works well with your energy and you've got that and it's working well, then you'll override it. And then for you, you'll find that compared to how cheap you bought it, you'll end up making profit on that day. And everybody else is sulking and saying, I made such a loss because this is what I bought it for, and I've made a loss. So there are still going to be people that make profit on it, but that's because they bought quite some time ago and they bought them at really low and cheap rates. But that's for the other coins. That's not for the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is still going to have, it's got 3 hidings to have this year. It's got the one in January, which is going to wake everybody up, and it is going to make a lot of people go into panic. So those people that really want Bitcoins, there will be Bitcoins available in January. So you have to be ready with your money in that to buy it during that time. And then you have to wait then till March. And then March, there's going to be plenty of coins and plenty of Bitcoins and that for people to buy, because people won't want to wait. So they're going to say it's not worth it because there's so much drama going on with them. It's not worth it. So there's going to be a lot more coins then. So be ready if that's what you're interested in. But you may have to be waiting about a 2-year period before you get the really good money that they're looking at now. So if you buy Bitcoin then in March, you know you're going to have to wait a good couple of years. And if you're impatient and you can't wait and you're looking to see profit next week or next month, then that won't be the coin that you'll want to buy during that time. So you'll have to wait a little bit longer. Then so we've got some interesting times. But like I said, if it goes up huge, then April is the month that you need to grab hold of all those coins that go up hugely in April, because you know they're going to be up the mega bucks during the summertime. So remember that.
Yeah. Then do you see the Bitcoin will hit have $1,000 in the first half of 2022 or the second half of 2022?
I think the second half of 2022. I think March time could make it knock down there. But I think the second part of it, I think it will go down to as low as it's been in years, very, very low price during that time. And so it's very difficult to weigh which is the smallest amount of its value then. So I would still say the second half of the year is going to be, the value. There's not going to be much value in it at all. So get ready to buy.
That's very interesting. Luckily, a lot of the average investors, we are in the smaller coin, the altcoin, rather than put all our money in Bitcoin. We're not waiting for Bitcoin to sort of pay our bills, luckily. So then you mentioned a little bit about Shiba. So from now into January 14, do you see that Shiba would drop, or how Shiba will perform from now into January 14?
Right. Yes, I think it's now going to begin to go up. I hope it's already been on a bit of a wobbly bit. So I hope it's sort of slowed down a little bit, because if it slowed down a bit, then it's not going to slow down again. It's going to keep going, the momentum. It's not huge jumps, but it is enough that you'll say, well, that's better than yesterday. And it's just got one of that little bit that's putting a smile on my face. Every time I look at it, I go, oh, that's a smile on my face. So that tells me that it's gone up that day a little bit fractionally higher. And like I said, I think the only thing is if we go into this blackout, I think then it will just have a pause and there won't be anything. But as soon as it comes back into the January time, I think that's going to be very exciting. I think that's going to start building up during that time. And I think you've got, and strange enough, a lot of the names that are going to do really, really well are with S's next year. Solana and Shiba and that, people, names and companies that start with S's, because S's next year is a very successful year for it. Because it's, I always say, because I specialize in handwriting, so I always say that it's the names and the companies and that sort of have certain letters in the next year really suits. So you'll find countries like Saudi Arabia and places like that start with an S will be in the limelight for the right reasons and things like that. So
would El Salvador count in that, even though it's EL?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So all of those, and S's are a very powerful and very important letter for next year. It works really well with the vibration, and the vibration next year is caring, loving, looking after. So you'll find things like dating agencies and stuff, that'll all do really well next year. So because it's a time of bringing together, bringing harmony, love and compassion and good things to other people. So everybody's got this sort of glow about them. They want to do good things. So
yeah,
good.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Here's Shiba's chart over the last, what did I pull up? 14 days.
Okay.
So when we were talking about going into January 14th, you noticed how it kind of was wobbling and went down, and now it's starting to rise. So
Okay. Yeah.
does that kind of go in line with what you were saying? You're working?
That's definitely going in, and that's really good that I can see it as well. So
Okay.
yeah, because like I said, I don't normally see it or even know. So yes, it does. It's keeping on track here. So like I said, I think I've got another little spring coming in the early part of January, and that starts sort of beginning to spring, and I think that's what's going to create the excitement. So I think it's going to be much harder to buy them and buy the coins and that around from that period. I think once we get into January, it's going to be very hard. I think people are going to be snapping them up. They're all of a sudden going to be watching and saying there's something exciting here. And as other coins and that are not doing quite so well, they'll be looking at ones that they say are steady plodders. And this one is a steady plodder. I feel that this one is going places, which is good. And look where it's heading, is heading up to Spirit at this moment. It's heading up high.
That's right.
So we're keeping it up there. We're keeping it up there.
Yeah.
So
SL, do you have more questions about Shiba?
Yeah, so right now you said creeping up. So in April, so the market will do really well in March and April.
Yes.
Well, the second half of March.
Yes.
Can you tell us how Shiba performed in February, March, April?
February, I think it's going to be where it eases off. It slows down very slightly, but only the first week in February. I think once you get past the 10th in February, I think then we'll start seeing the creeping up each day. So it has what I call a little bit of a sneeze. It has a moment where it steps back to what it was. And if you look to see what it's going to be round about the 27th, 28th of December now, it'll go back to round about that price. So whatever it is then over the next few days, that's the price it's going to go back to. So it'll go back to that. And then it'll just keep creeping up and creeping up. Like I said, I expect it to go up really big during the summertime. So if you've invested in it, I'm expecting here massive numbers, just like they talk about Bitcoin now. I expect them to be talking about the same. So I think we'll be talking, quite a few thousand. So we'll be going up like even keep getting 60 in my head, like 60,000. They'll be talking about, you were going, how could it have jumped up that much? But that's because April energy loves it, and it will build itself up during that time. So it'll go crazy and mad during that time, but on the up. And then don't let people just talk it down. And if they start talking it down, it's because they want you to sell your coins. They want to be able to get your coins. So I think what you haven't bought by February, I think it's going to be almost impossible, because all of a sudden everybody be jumping on the bandwagon. And I believe that a lot of predictions and that when they talk about the cryptocurrency will be all suggesting to people to go and get that. And they'll be saying, if you get the opportunity, get it. So hang on to it.
Yeah. So then in January, what's the lowest, what day Shiba will have the lowest price?
And the date that we can actually look at it and see that it's the lowest price, then I would be looking at around that 28th, around the 28th, because I would be looking at seeing what it made in December, the 27th and 28th. And I think the 28th is then going to show you how you should expect it to grow, or how it's growing on a day that people are saying, well, the coins that really grow today are the ones that are going to be the big boys this year. So that's going to be your key point. Your key point will be then.
Then do you see that Shiba will reach a penny in 2022?
No, I don't see it being there. No.
Okay.
So I think no.
Okay.
I have to say no.
Yeah, that
I've
probably
actually got that down. I've done a list here of a couple of names and that going down through that I think are going to do particularly well. And I've put Shiba down as my number one bet. Is my, not that I'm a betting person, but my number one bet that I'm going to have for this year. If I'm going to buy anything, then that's what I would be trying to buy it in, because I think that's going to be the biggest climber of the whole year.
yes.
That's what I believe.
Yeah. So right now Shiba is under a penny. Shiba has 4 0 and 3 sevens.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not even a penny yet.
Okay. Right. Well, this is as absolute as low as it's going to be. It's not going to be any lower than this. So this is where you need to be prepared for the market to start really acknowledging it and recognizing it. And like I said, by the beginning of the year, everybody be talking about it. So then it's going to just start shooting up, and that's when it's going to be, harder to get hold of it. So I think it's easier to buy it now than it is going to be in January. I think if you buy any in January, you would have paid quite high compared to the people that buy it now. So buy if you get the opportunity, especially. But I don't see it dropping back down to where it is at this moment in time. I don't see it going that far.
In 2023, how is Shiba performing in 2023, and what month?
Well, I give that a good time. I haven't gone into real loads of detail on 2023, but I believe that that's got 5 years of excitement around it. As I said, I'm comparing this one with Bitcoin. The way they talk about Bitcoin, I believe they'll be talking about Shiba in exactly the same way. They'll be saying it like it's the stability. It's the one for people to try to get hold of, to have that reassurance that they're going to earn profit at the end of the month, or they're going to earn more from it. So they're going to be looking at it the way that we say XRP is where all the countries are jumping on board with it. But I think that is still a lot of hype. And even though they are going to be jumping on board with it, I still don't see it as being as successful as what Shiba is going to be in the future. Like I said, I feel there'll be other coins that really are better than XRP in the future. So
I don't like XRP, so that's why SL is giggling.
Right, is it?
Yeah, it's a centralized currency. It's a bank
exactly.
coin, so I don't like it. So, yeah.
And that's what I think with it is going to go down very much of the old banking system, the thing that we're about to get rid of completely now. And I hope within the next couple of days that we've all done and dusted completely with it. We've gone over to the quantum financial system and I definitely believe that it would be all up and running and everybody be using it and talking about it and everybody being trained on it, even by the 6th of January, that I believe the quantum financial system. So I think that's going to be really good. And I know that to be right because I've dreamt about it twice now. Over the last couple of days, and I see all the January the 6th people being released from prison and that round about the 20th of January time, and they wouldn't do that unless the financial system was all sewn up and done and dusted. So I think the financial system has got a big awakening right now, right as we speak at this moment. Over the Christmas period, it's not going to be quiet. It's going to be transforming and changing terribly, and there's going to be, but in a good way, terribly, exciting.
No, it's good for the people. Yeah,
it's good huge for the people. Absolutely huge, Ray. And even before, and when everybody else is worried about all what's going on with the cryptocurrencies and all the other currencies and things like that, it's just to take your mind off of all what's actually going on. And I think that's why they're trying to make examples of the cryptocurrency and trying to talk it down at this moment in time. They're trying to do it on purpose. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, I do blabber. Sorry.
You can come on my show and blabber anytime. I love it. But SL has a lot of questions for you.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I think we have to make this a 5-hour show then.
So
we'll do a girls' sleepover. We'll do like a sleepover thing where we talk to you all night.
You wouldn't get any sleep. That's fine.
So besides Shiba, there's another coin called Akita. Akita did really well in May. So about 7 months ago. when Shiba was going up and Akita is like right along it, just not too far off. So we want to know, will Akita go back to its all-time high price? So right now, Akita is, I think has 50, and oh my God, 50 and 16.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, 50 and 16. Do you see that in March and April? In March and April, Akita will go back to all-time high, which means like I forgot all-time high price.
Is it wait, what's the ticker for Akita?
AKITA. So all-time high price for Akita was like 4029. So right now it has 50.
Okay, right.
Do you
and I
see
think
that?
that's going to keep going on. That's going to keep increasing. That's not going to go quite as rapid as the rest of the cryptocurrency. No, it's not going to go as fast as that, and it is going to be like the brother or the sister, something that's just coming along behind. I do think it is going to be a safe bet, but not straight away. It is something that's going to build up, and actually, I think on a month that's a little bit quieter, which is May, I think that's going to do extremely well. And I think in a month that I would be biting my nails with all cryptocurrencies in February, I think it's going to do well during February. So watch for the changes in February and the little leaps and bounds and that. And it could be up in the 6s during that time, and maybe going into May time in around 7s. And be that little bit higher. And I would think that would be quite quick. So I would say you've got another percentage of that going on top of it that you'll get even as soon as February. And then you'll find in May, you'll probably get 1 or 2% even higher on top of that again. So you've got a couple of very exciting months where it's slow for most coins, but this one in particular is going to do really nicely during that time. I think it's what I call a nice little warmer in the back oven. That's going to continue on over the next couple of years, but not be a horse race where it's a winner all the time. It is something that you'll be keeping an eye on and saying, yeah, that's good, but I need it to be a little bit faster. I don't know why. I just got an image and a picture of like the little Teletubby, the one that you like, but doesn't really talk or say a lot. So it's the one that you say, I don't want to get rid of for that reason. But it just seems to be some kind of nice little bit of interest that's coming in round about the May time, and that with the company. So watch to see what it's about. What does it do? Is it game, or what does it do?
Oh, it's a meme coin, just like Shiba.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. But it doesn't feel the same vibration as Shiba.
It's not just the same as Shiba. It doesn't have the infrastructure that Shiba has. It doesn't have a swap. It doesn't have its own blockchain. It doesn't have,
Right. Okay. So I think then that May, I think somebody else or another team will merge with it. It's about merging next year. So it's when two become one. So a lot of companies then will join to try to make a stronger force. If they do one thing and somebody else does something else, you'll find in January and February time, because of the sort of uncertainty, they'll be starting to merge together and say, well, if we do this as a team together, we can fight to be up there with the big boys. And that's what they're saying. So there's going to be second chances for coin names that have been around before and those that want to merge. There will be a lot of merging. So those are the companies, but the merging companies are what I call the quick burst of money. I don't see them around for a long, long time if they do go and merge with another company, because you've got one strong side and one other not so strong side where it's about you've got to be united next year. Next year is two teams working together perfectly. So be just a little bit wary of companies that are all of a sudden merging.
Do you know what week in May Akita will perform well?
I think the middle of May, the 2 weeks in the middle of May, they would do particularly well.
Mm-hmm. And then how about February?
And in February time, I think straight in at the start, I think from the very end, 28th of January time, I think they start creeping, and then there will be some decent jumps there that you'll find they'll get half in the first week what they're going to make the whole month of February. It's sort of like a jump and then another jump. I like the second and the third day of February seems to work really well with the company. The energy suits that company well. So I think you could get a decent jump. So on those 2 days.
Awesome. There is a coin called Veritasium. They recently, the founders of the coin, he was granted a patent for his inventions. Do you see how high? Do you see what month Veritasium will do well? Right now it's $90.
Right. Okay. I think January they're going to do well. April they're obviously going to do well. And I think June, July, and August, they're all going to be equal to January. So I think January is going to be the slowest month for them, but still at making profits, which is quite nice. I think anything here and next year to do with patent plans, new ideas, countries and people being independent, inventors, and anything here that's bringing in new ideas, pioneering ideas, are going to do extremely well over the next decade. So not even short time, but decades. So we're looking at long periods here. So I think this is just one success, and they must have a team here of great perfectionists, because I'm feeling all the hairs on the back of my neck standing up on end. So the team that's working with them, they're very strong, a strong team. So they're not going to be sat waiting for everybody to catch up with them or do the same things as them. They still want to be, they've got big egos. So when they got big egos, so sorry to say that, but when they have, that means they want to be shining all the time. They want people to talk about them. So it is going to be quite an exciting company to be around or to be involved in, and that, but that's going to be very good. Very.
Do you see the price for this coin? Do you see any price?
Okay.
I have some price.
What is it now? Because I've got 10 plus. So what is it now?
Right now it's $90, 49 cents, $90.94.
Right. So I think even in January, it's going to go up by another further 10%. So I think over the next few days and that you will see those leaps and bounds. So we've got a good 10% at least revalue or valuing up even before January is out. Remember, January is it's just slow. It's a tired month to start it. It's where there's going to be lots of baby new coins and new names and that come in. I think the ones that are there are going to have the biggest shake up, because the ones that are coming in will be all singing, all dancing, and they'll be doing everything. They will be investing in the latest technology and the latest ideas. And that's going to be exciting. But this company will compete all the way, and they don't want to be left behind at all. So they're fighters. That's what I said. The whole team is a perfectionist, and I don't compliment very often. So that must be very good for them to be called a perfectionist, the whole team. I'm always there saying you've got a weak link here or somebody's not, but actually they're a full team, and they're really, very strong in that. So, which is very exciting.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then I have another coin that has not launched yet. The name of the coin is Bitcoin Black.
Okay.
This project has been trying to launch for a few years, and the team has been quiet for about 6 to 8 months. Do you see when will launch and what's going on with the current projects?
Right. I think they will try and relaunch or have a better launch. Remember what I said about anybody associated, or the name will be associated with Bitcoin. And the trouble is, I think at this moment in time, I think their plans are saying, well, okay, we'll get Christmas out the way and then we'll start thinking about it. So they will be thinking about February, even March, about a big relaunch and a big kickstart. And I think it'd be totally the wrong time for them to do it. They would have to wait till April. If they waited till April and then did it, this time they would actually take off, because so many people are just associating it with Bitcoin and the black, thinking the black hats, the dark hats, the not as good guys at this moment in time. I think it would just bring a very edgy, slow start, and they could be then sat there on the shelves for another 6 months before they start really moving. And they've got to be serious. I know they probably are serious, and it's very rude of me to say that, but they've got to be serious about when they launch and how they launch. And that's what they've got to actually look at. And I think for them, it's all in the month they start. If they start in January, it'll be too slow for them. In February, they'll really and truly wish that they didn't. But I think their energy is to just get Christmas out the way and then really get going on it. And for me, I think that's far too quick for them. They need to wait until we can get through March and then really get going on the good months. So if they began to talk about them or got people interested in them and started then, I think they could just about hit that April month where people wouldn't be associating them with Bitcoin. And I think they're going to be starting just when everybody's seeing Bitcoin losing big amounts. And as soon as they see that losing big amounts, people then won't want to invest in it because they'll think they're just somebody from that company starting up another one. So it's a bit of a dangerous time for them.
Yeah, Susan, there's a coin or project that my husband and I, or the family, have been involved with for a long time, Theta and Theta Fuel.
Okay.
They're kind of two coins that are linked together. What do you see for Theta and Theta Fuel by the end of the year? So short term and then long term for 2022.
Right. Okay. Short term, I think say the fuel one again, because the fuel one is stressing me a bit. So is it, what did you say?
T-fuel or Theta Fuel.
Theta Fuel. I think the Theta Fuel is going to struggle between now and the end of the year. Okay. So I don't know what it's doing at the moment or where it's going in that, but I think it's ready to go on it. It's not on a dip. It's ready to go on a dip. It's ready to go on it. But remember what I said, this is 100% about holding your nerve. This is about saying here, if you're invested in it as a family and looking at it as a family project, just because it's got a dip and ready to come on a dip. All right. Is that where it is now? Is it on
this is the T-fuel price chart?
Right.
This is 24-hour though. Let me put a little like 30-day. Yeah. So it's on a dip.
Right. So it's on a dip. So as long as it's on a dip now, then it's got time to recover a bit. I don't think it recover much before the end of the year. I think it's going to still steadily go on dipping until the end of the year. Okay. And so I think that you are going to see that over the Christmas period, that it is going to go through a dipping time. Now, when is it going to actually pick up? Now, there's something really interesting that sort of happens. And this could be on the 31st of this month. So I think on the 31st of this month, I think you can have your first day that you can smile and celebrate with the family and say, guess what? It's gone back up to what it was Christmas week. So it's not it's not a big lift, but it will just give you a little bit of a smile on your face. And that. Okay. So I think both companies and that. Did you say they're a link? They're associated in that together?
Yeah. So Theta Fuel is the gas that you use for Theta. Theta is the original coin. So let me show you the Theta chart. Okay.
So remember what I said just now when I said about two companies and that merging together with their technology and what they hope that they can bat off for what the other.
So these aren't two different companies. It's just it's the same company. It's just like two pieces that it's like two tools within the company.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And that's why it will go okay, and only okay at the moment in time. I think even through January and that is going to be still quite a hard ride for both of them. And you're one of those strange ones that I think in February time is actually going to suit your coins during February time. So I think even though you have that last day of smiling at the end of the year here, I believe in February time that you'll have a little bit of growth, and that only through the first 2 weeks in February time, I think there will be enough growth there that you say, well, we're going to keep investing in this. I definitely still see them at the end of the year. So I do believe they will go from a little bit more strength to strength. I don't think they're going to be with the big companies at this moment in time, but I do think they're going to have enough to carry themselves. They do need a good shake-up at the moment. They've got to get together on technology. They've got to come up with some different ideas, and they've really got to unite things here and get together, because it's still feeling to me, even though you say they're the same company, but they've just gone down different pathways. They've got different elements they're working with. They need to unite the company a lot more. It needs to feel like we're shooting forward. And at this moment with them, I don't feel like I'm shooting forward. I just feel that I'm sort of sat back here waiting to see what others are coming up with next before I can do what's coming up next. And they shouldn't be. Liquids, fuels, and that type of thing is definitely going to be from May onwards. So any company, even the Tesla companies, now they're going to be sort of building up after the May and during the May period, and now they're going to be doing better. But all oil, fuels, gas, electricity, all those type of companies and that are late bloomers for next year.
It doesn't have anything to do with fuel. It's just the name.
No,
Actually, this is about streaming and
Video streaming.
Sharing video streaming, sharing your broadband, expanding broadband.
Okay, well, as technology is changing, no, but fuels and that, for anybody who does anything with fuels and that is the second part of the year all round, because I think we're going into new forms, forms of fuel and new forms of technology. So I think the technology in that will boost them and help them. And so any kind of
second half of 2022, not
the second half will really start them off, and then you will have faith and you'll say, I'm glad I bought them now. But up until then, you might have quite a few what I call yawny days that you'll be going, come on then. Yeah, exactly. But have faith in them and know they will get things here together and that through the second part. So yes, that's fine. So it's all the things that have been slow in the first part of the year will kickstart
pick up that second half.
Yeah. They're just waiting for the second part, the second wind. The energy suits them better. It's so fast this year that if people are not ready to go skating down the road or go really fast, and like I said, there's no thinking time this year that's coming up. As soon as you think it, if you don't act and deal or make a sell or make a buy and do it, 2 minutes later, you're literally going to be too late. You're going to be saying, lots of people saying, I missed out on that because I was too slow. You can't be slow. If you're fast and on point all the time.
They say there's going to be, Cliff High's data says that there will be a time of FOMO or fear of missing out, where the mass, adoption comes. I guess people are coming into the market. I don't know if you can feel that time.
Yeah, because I think that's absolutely right. I think for so many people, and especially when more people have abundance of money and they're going to be talked about all the cryptocurrencies and that, I think that's going to get people into a panic, because those people with no knowledge whatsoever is just going to buy something for the name. So the easier the name.
When do you think that will be? When do you think that?
I think definitely by March. I think January time of abundance will start. The financial market will get itself once and for all talked about in a way that you know exactly where it's going. You'll know that the normal financial systems are gone, the banks are gone, the way that we know them to be, and everything will become different. And because it's that, then people will say, well, now I've got some money. Now I know I'm going to have some money. Now I know something's coming. And it's not all just about abundance and things like that. It's about us doing things now in a better way, a fairer way. And that's why people are going to be getting into the cryptocurrency, but without any thought. They're just going to be saying, right, that'll do. That's cheap enough.
Just looking for different projects. This coin, this one's Matic that I pulled up, and it's one that supports Ethereum or is a problem solver. It's a technology coin that makes Ethereum work better or faster. What do you see for it?
Ethereum is going to be, that's an excellent company. That's really going to be a good company. It's all good for them anyway over the next couple of years. And this company here, I think, not just because they're associated with it, but just it's the smart thinking, those that are a little bit more edgy and a little bit more individual. And that's where I think these guys will benefit in that, because it's the same, very pointy, a lot of ups and downs and that with them. But I think it's going to be much more about going up. I think their energy in that is heading in the right direction here.
Okay. Estelle, did you want to ask some questions about Matic specifically?
Yeah, I'm just curious, like what month Matic will perform really well, and like what has right now is $2. What's the price, Lisa?
Let me find it. Yes, $2.61.
Yeah. Do you see how high Matic will rise next year?
Well, eventually by next year, I don't think it's going to be one of the absolute massive big ones and that, but I would still see in the 40s. So I would still see like 40,000. I would be looking at the 40s and that with it. So even though it's quite low at this moment in time, I was quite surprised it was quite so low. I was expecting it to be much higher even before the end of this year. So this could be one of those over what I call the sleepy period on Christmas Eve and that could make a nice little jump there. And so you could end up then waking up Christmas morning and seeing something that's looking a little bit healthier with the price tag on this one. So I think if you're going to buy into that, you would have to do it now before Christmas Eve. Because if you waited until Christmas Eve, then you would see everybody else would be laughing on Christmas Day. And you'd be there on Boxing Day thinking, I wish I jumped at this one. But like I said, this one here, it is ringing well, and it is going to be going up in the 40s. Isn't it funny how we're only talking about dollars and a few little cents and small things now? Then all of a sudden we go from that to talking about 40,000. Right. And like I said, it's not going to be massive up in the 60s and 70s and that, certainly not at this moment in time, but see what they do during the year. Because during the year we have their excitements, and funny, they're a company that's going to do well in the autumn times. So you'll see September, October, and that they do some of their biggest leaps and that. So that could be a company to be worthwhile hanging on to. So
for the 40,000, do you know what year it will be? Like you talk about 40, like $4 or $40 or 40,000.
40,000. I was going to the big one because I was looking by sort of like this time next year. So by the time we get to this latter end, I think that September and October time, there's going to be some really big jumps that come in for it during there, and we'll be looking up in the thousands. And that's why I said we're going from like a few dollars, a few small things now, and then all of a sudden we start going up into the bigger leads. But we're not in the big boys. There will be several coins out there that it'll be a lot higher than this one. And even though I like the energy that comes in with it because it suits the year itself. It's fast. The company will be fast and pacey most of the time, which is really good. And that suits next year. Like I said, you've got to be on part, on form for everything next year. You can't be asleep. You definitely can't be asleep. You've got to, sorry to say, you'll be all going, she's not going to let me go to bed now. But you've got to be awake a lot of the time. And that's where it's really important that you don't dither too much. And then if your energy is right and it says you need to cream off the profit now, sometimes you just got to do that. You just got to hold back. Sometimes it's your energy that's just got to slow down, or you're being taught a lesson to say, cream off the profit and then invest.
Okay.
Let's do that.
But that's a big jump. Go from below $3 to 40,000 by the end of next year. That's a big jump.
That's an absolutely massive jump. But like I said, I think September and October time is going to be where certain currencies really jump, and they take big jumps. But then watch what they do beforehand. Watch the build up, the conversation. As soon as it starts building up. And like I said, people are looking for all these newbies coming in to invest in it. And as soon as there's some good talking about a certain currency, then they'll just invest in it, and they won't know what they're doing or how they're doing it. And so they'll be just investing just to put some money somewhere. And so
Susan, is that because people will be moving from, like we said, that crash or that end of the banking system, and they'll be moving their money from that silver or whatever that gets destroyed and moved into, and that will be going into this cryptocurrency?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's how much market cap's coming into cryptocurrency. These numbers are going to go that high just in this next year.
And that's why I think that it's all important about how the cryptocurrency fares with governments and that, how they get involved with governments and what they let governments get away with. So you've definitely got to be a team. You've all got to work together. You've all got to complain. You've all got to say you've got no rights. You can't interfere with this. You've got to stand up for yourself during that time. And if you can do that, then you're going to be making them concentrate on other things. And because everybody's going to be putting their money into it, people are going to want somewhere that they think is safe, and they like it because the cryptocurrency gives them money daily. So that's what they think. They think, well, I can just invest in that. I can just put it there and leave it. There's going to be a lot of people that invest for a very long time. And so that's why some of the coins and that all of a sudden get massive impacts of people wanting to buy a lot, which then makes the increase in prices jump so dramatically, because it's a dramatic year next year. There is shock after shock next year. There's shock with all the cryptocurrencies. People say, I can't believe that one's doing so well, or that one that I thought was going to die out, not going to be there. All of a sudden it comes back up. It gives everybody a second chance to get that opportunity of doing well. So the crypto world just better be awake and ready for it. And I know it is. So sorry to be so rude to you all out there.
No, it's good. It's good. I know SL, you wanted to talk about this next coin.
XYO. Do you see that XYO will go to $1 next year?
Right. I've taken a deep breath there. So if they do, I think they'll go back. I think it'll drop back. It'll get up there.
Do you know what month it will go to $1?
You see, January. Just bear with me a second, January. May. I think it'll go there in May time, but I think in June time it'll drop back. So whatever it is before you get to the month of May, it will drop back to that. So it will go up there and then it will drop back. So
that's awesome.
You just got to be prepared for that bit of drop back and then for it to start shooting up. And I think it will take quite a few months to be able to get back up to where it was during that May time. So May, I think, is the most exciting month, or the best month that they will potentially have. Even April time, which is meant to be absolutely extraordinary, and that for all cryptocurrencies that make it into it. Because I think if you're not going to make it into it, you'll be falling off, you're falling to pieces, and that people will be talking about, don't invest in this company, and that, and be doing it beforehand.
I agree. So then we already know that, Shiba will be the star next year. You told me in my reading, you told some members. How about Saitama? Saitama, do you see how Saitama will perform in March and April of next year?
Right, brilliantly.
Under a penny.
That I think that's going to be quite reasonably high. Did you say a 1 or 2?
Saitama right now is under a penny, has 70 in the front.
Right, okay. Right, and more than 1 7 in it?
1 second, let me pull it up.
I'm trying to, I always put the I in the wrong place. SAITAMA.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Right. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros, 4, 7, 3, 7, 9.
Right. Okay. It's all the 7s that bring it in, that bring in the energy that's going to move it up, because the 7s now, we're upping the energy, we're moving it up for it. So yes, I do. That this is one here. I don't think it's a big jumper, so it's not going to be one of those that jump hugely. And so I think you'll be looking much more of rounding everything off. So I think over the next few weeks, we'll be rounding things off. I think this is definitely a coin that's going to enjoy the winter months or the darker days rather than the lighter days. So I think it goes slower during the spring and the summer, but faster during the winter and the autumn. So I think it's the both latter ends of the year, the beginning part that it starts off with and the latter end. I know your summers and winters are probably completely different than mine. So we're just going here, the UK one. So we're doing the January, February time, it will do well and it'll round itself off. So, which is good, going up to $1. So it's rounding itself off. And then we'll be looking at September, October, November. And November, when a lot of coins and that are doing not so well, this one here will have a couple of weeks right up until the middle, probably about the 17th, 18th and that, which it will do quite well in November time. And I think that will be its biggest jump of the whole year during November time. So that's going to be not brilliant, but better, a plodder. So I like plodders.
So right now, Saitama has 70 do you see that we'll lose a few zero next year?
I think next year, yes, it will. I think it will continue on in the same vein that it's going on now, where it has a couple of months of moving forward, then it goes to sleep for a while. And I think probably 2023 will be a better year for it. So if you've got the coins and you're prepared to wait this year out and wait to the autumn time or September, October, November time of this year, I think you'll make a little bit of money on it, but you might end up having to sit on it for sort of like 4 or 5 months without it making big money or anything that you can really talk about to say that that was worth hanging on to. So I think until the spring and the summertime, where it goes to sleep a bit more and it's pretty much acting the way that it is at this moment, up and down and up and down and all over the place. Got a lot of craziness with some of the coins going on at this moment in time, but I don't think it's necessarily the coin's fault. I think it's just the energy that we're in. We're just sorting out, we're weeding our garden, as we should say at this moment. We're trying to sort out the good ones and the ones that we really want to invest in, that we really think are going to do well for the world. And next year you have to be, it's about giving back to the world. It's about doing great things.
Speaking of that, when you were talking about Armstrong, will Starlink outperform Shiba? Could Starlink be that Armstrong you were hearing or thinking of? And could that outperform Shiba following like March to October?
Yes, I think it will. I think it will carry on. I'm still sticking to it that I give Shiba my number one for the highest, climbs next 2022 is my number one is Shiba. So I'm definitely giving that.
You didn't think it would go to a penny?
I didn't think it would go to a penny.
Yeah.
But then that is just at this moment in time. This is getting rid of the energies now and going into it. But that's going to be my number one coin. That's going to be the biggest jumps, and that's the one that's going to do the best in April out of all the other companies and that. So, yes.
Okay. I think I sort of know my answers. My member want to know, will Starlink outperform Shiba in 2023?
In 2023, I think it probably could just actually have the edge on it, but just very slightly. I think it'll have the edge on it. I just think because a lot more people will be talking about it, and because of all these newbies coming in, they're just going to jump on board with it and say, well, I'm going to sort of invest in that. So I think it's going to give Shiba a run for its money in 2023. But then the coins and that with plenty of sevens in at this moment would do better in 23 than they will in 22. And 22 is the individuals. It's now the fighting powers, the ones that are really going to show the big profits. It's going to show everybody what they can make and what they can do. And that's what Shiba is going to do. So for me, I'm smiling all the way to the bank with the Shiba. So, but a different bank, the new banks and that. So I think that's your safe bet, which is good.
Yeah. So a lot of people in this community in a bunch of coin like this, in a coin called Cardano, Stellar Lumen, and Doge coin. They want to know how those coins will perform next year, like what month and the price, if you see anything. So Cardano's one, Stellar Lumen, and then Doge.
Right. Cardano, that's my number 8th biggest climber for I've written down 8 names and that of ones here that I tuned into while I was waiting to log into you here and tuned into them. And that's my number 8. So I think Cardano is going to be a company. And I do see that one around for quite a few years. So I do see that as being a solid investment, which is really good. So yes.
What month
in particular? What was the other 2?
Stellar Lumen.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I was trying to. I thought you were asking what month for Cardano.
Yes.
Right. I just think that's going to be a gradual increase in that.
Okay.
Is it in the clouds, what I call it at the moment? Has it been much higher than what it is now?
It has dropped a lot of it. Right now it's 132. It used to be almost. It used to be $3.
Okay. And now it's going to come back, and now it's going to come back, and it could even be by the end of January, it could be as high as it's been through this year already. So it could end up making that money back. So if it was as high as $3, it will be back by the end of January, it'll be back at level with that highest peak that it's actually had. And then after that, I think that's when it's going to start rolling on and building itself up. I do see that as growth. I don't see any month that it's going to be lower than what it is at this moment in time. So I've just gone through the whole 12 months of 2022, and I see that as still being okay. That's a good one. So that is something that I definitely wouldn't sell me, but I wouldn't sell that one on because I'm going to get growth. I would say its best year is 2023 and 2024. So they've got 2 stunning years to come. So this year, 2022, we're just going to be going through it, and they're going along with the motion of it. And then whatever they do towards the last month, so we're looking at December time of next year of 2022, I think there's some shifts and changes in the company and some great ideas and some things, and it really takes a kick off. And then they've got 2 years of brilliantness. So they've got over the next 5 years, it's been a bit slow, and then it's going to build up, and then it's going to grow. So we've got the biggest they've ever been will be in 2023, and 2024 will equal that, not quite beat it, will equal it. So that's a company to watch out for in the future.
Okay, and then we want to look at XLM, which is also called Stellar Lumen.
Okay, all right.
So
I like the S energy that's actually coming in with that. That's already feeling that it was good. I like the ones at this moment in time that have been struggling over the last few weeks and not doing quite so well. And if that's right, what you're showing on that chart, I assume that's a takedown in that at the end of it. So they must have gone through some difficult times and that. Over the last few weeks. Well, those that have had difficult times now have had time to readjust their energies with their company, and that I think that is still going to be a slow starter. I still think that they've got about another 5 months here before they start coming back in what I call the higher peaks and that. So I think there's going to be a few small ones, but I don't see it rapidly turning around as really big money. So I think they've still got about another 5 months there. So where are we looking at now? I never know what month we are. So we will be looking at basically by May time of next year. I think by May time of next year, it will start be looking a bit sweeter, and then it can look for a couple of months now of just slowly going up. I think May, June and July, you'll see the peaks stay up there. And it will look a lot more, so it won't be this up and down and this craziness, which you can see on that graph at the moment. It starts going up there, and then it will stay up there. It will have a couple of little drops around September time, but until then, you've got a couple of months that you're looking at there, and it's got a nice stability and stableness. And so I think people, again, will just trust it a little bit more. I think the way that it's performing at this moment in time is making you sort of scared of thinking, shall I hang on to it? Because there's so many peaks and that in around it. So I think that would be better. I don't see it as being absolutely massive turnarounds, but a good stableness and that for at least 2, possibly going into almost 3 months and that, where you say, well, this is gradually creeping itself up, but only slowly creeping itself up. So you're only looking at $1 or something like that, a little bit more. And the reason that my head is slightly stuttering in that, because the new currency is not called the dollar, because it's called something else, the quantum financial system, and because all the coinage and everything is different, they're showing it to me in all these figures and that. And I'm going, well, I don't know what we call that. What do we call that? And so they're not telling me what we call it. I just know it's new names of new currencies and that's coming in. So we won't be talking about it in a few cents or a couple of dollars or rounding it off. You'll be talking about the new currency that it comes in with.
CBDCs, yeah.
Yes, and all of that.
So they wanted to ask about Dogecoin really quick.
Okay.
And this one, here's the quick 90-day chart for it. It's another one that's trending down. So that's kind of goes
Right.
in line with what you were saying, the struggling.
Yeah, I'm going to stick it in my head and go right out with that and say you've still got a long wait on that. I think you're going to have to wait before it really starts bringing itself up. I would be looking at 2023. So even January time in 2023 before you can see that was a solid investment at its time. I think at this moment in time it's going to stay trending a lot of the time where it's going to keep dropping down, and you're just going to keep looking at it and thinking, well, do you know something? I think it's better to get rid of it now. But I always say when it's doing this, it's better to just hang on to it. And because we're still in that space of saying, hang on, and don't throw in the towel yet, because next year is so rapid. What would normally take a whole year could be crammed down into 6 months. So all of a sudden the energy can move itself forward really quickly. And then you be thinking, right, I got to wait till the end of the year before anything. Then all of a sudden you could have a freak month in June where all of a sudden it starts really lifting and changing. And it's just where everything has been impacted and everybody's got on board of doing everything really fast. So it's the fast months and the speediness that could shock everybody on that. But at this moment, I would say 2023 before it's really going to see daylight and really see any sort of money coming in with that. So sorry,
I'm going
to
to ask a favor of my favorite coin, and then I'm going to let SL ask a coin that she likes that I don't like to talk about.
Okay, so fingers crossed is good then.
Yeah, so this Litecoin is what my mom gave my husband and I Litecoin when I got married in 2017, and so it's kind of a family favorite. I was
going to say that's got to be your heirloom, that's got to be your treasure, and I would see that as being very good. So yeah. I would see this whole year as that's being very, very good. So I think anybody who has Litecoin, and that's going to do well with that.
Curious what you see for 2022 for that.
Okay, right. So let's see. Just bear with me, January, February, March. No, I go forward April, May, June. Yeah. I'm just looking for the flattest month or the worst month and that. And I think you're already in it now. I think this is the slowest month that is going to be. Mm-hmm. And I just think every single month then has got something that I would like about it. I do think that's going to be a very strong coin through 2022. And I think 2023 is going to be a much stronger year than what it is now. It is a coin that you should seriously hang on to, because you've got here a 6-year cycle now, and it's changing and going through the momentum. Your special years, and that will be within it is every 6 years. So it seems to like, for some reason, the 6 year. And if we're going into numerology, then next year is the 6 year anyway. So it's going to ride the coin. It's going to take the coin on. So I think the coin's going to do really well during next year, full stop. I think it likes the energy very much. It likes the romantic edge of saying that you were given as a wedding present. And so it's got a great association and that with it. So even though that's more romantic, next year, I'm afraid, is romantic. It is sloppy. It is loving. You have to love your coin that you've got, and you love your coin you've got.
We do. So my daughter's getting married next year, so maybe we'll carry on that family tradition.
Absolutely. Best year to get married. We'll even get her the same coin. It probably costs a lot more, but give her the same,
that's all right.
Same coin.
She's worth it. All right, SL, you're up. I will pull up your
XRP.
Your XRP.
Yes.
We can.
So my group want to know what month next year's XRP will have the best month.
It's very difficult to be April, because like I said, all the strong coins and XRP will do really well then. I think XRP is going to have quite an abnormal month in a good way during January time. I think January time, because there's so many shifts and changes and so many new leaders across the world coming back and taking their thrones back. and all coming back, I think January is going to make the cryptocurrency a fascinating month. And that's why those that are there that governments will back during that time will start doing well. And then governments will be just looking at cryptocurrency more favorably during January time than what they are at this moment in time. So everything is going to shift in that with the rules, the regulations, and what is successful during that time. So actually, I think even as soon as January, things could start picking up and perking up really well. And so look forward to a good month in January. I'm just going through, and there's not really disastrous months and that, but best month of all is April. And like I said, I can see that with all coins and that, most of them that are going to be survivors and that are going to do well during April. So stick with that. I think that'll be good for you.
That's awesome. So right now, XRP is like 93, 94 cents. Do you see that XRP will go to $10 or $25 next year?
I think it'll go $10 quite quickly. I think again, possibly it could even be in January time where it goes up to $10. We've got nice shifts and that with the coin and that during that time. So I think January time is a little bit of a movement for it. And I like the feel that it comes with it. And until then, February could be quieter for it and it not really jump, and people be expecting that same little jump that it gets in January. And I don't think it's going to get it until then April. And then I think April it will do it. And then May, it could get a little bit quiet again until the last week in May. And then all of a sudden it's like it wakes up again. And then the last few days in May, I think there's a turning point. I think it doesn't like the blood moons that are coming in during the month of May. So I think it just goes off boil a little bit during that time. And maybe there's a lot more feminine energies working in around the company. So I hope there is for the company's sake. But if not, they got a lot of crazy men that are working there during that time. But there's a lot of feminine energies and that come in during that time. So it will be affected by the moons and the cycles that we're going through, and then back on track and that back in June. So it's back to normal, back to the way that it started the year. Very sort of jumpy every couple of days. There's a nice little quiet jump and that, which is good. I don't see it being as absolutely massive and huge during next year, but it could end up being round about the $14 or whatever the new currency is called during that time. So round about June time, I see it round about 14. I keep getting the number 14 in front of me. So I think it could be even as much as that.
Yeah. So when in January it climbed to $10, will it stay at $10 or drop and then it climb back up?
I think it will stay roughly round about the $10 until it goes into February. And then we've got here the 2nd and 3rd of February, which seems to be a little bit of a bumpy ride. But those 2 days, it could drop down a little bit. It could even drop down as much as 6 or 7, not down from 10 down to 6 or 7, but 6 or 7 cents or something. They could small drops, small little bite-sized drops over those 2-day periods, and then it can start picking back up again. And then you could even find as soon as the 12th that it's back up to the $10 again. So it didn't stay down there for long, just a few days, maybe 5 or 6 days, something like that. Maybe that's where the 6 came in. It's just telling me it's in day form. That it could then change from then and start sort of building up from then. So I hope that makes a bit of sense and it's not made everything so crazy. Remember what I said to everybody, make sure that you trust your gut intuition. If something there resonates with you, then you go with it. And if it doesn't, and you think that's a load of rubbish, or I don't think that, then you have to feel it your own self. Then sit there and concentrate on it and just say to yourself, this is what I'm going to invest in, and keep saying the name to yourself. And if you then get a tickly cheek, or you find you keep wanting to scratch, and that spirit acknowledging what you're saying to you, yes, that's right. So listen to the signs. Your body will always give you the signs when something is correct for you. Because remember what we said at the beginning, it's got to be work with your energy, and it doesn't work with everybody's energy at all. And that's always going to be hard to get the right energy for the right person. But because I do it on vibrations and sounds and tones. It's easier for me that way. So I hope that helps.
So no, this helps. But SL is giving me a little permission to go right into my sweet spot of in the private chat. So on my channel we talk a lot about what's going on with the banking system, and there's talking about I've gone to my private bank and seen what's called an ITM, where there are coins dispensed, and then I had my banker give me a tour, and they showed me, oh yeah, and walk around here, and there's machines where they dispense rolls of coins, and you can dump large amounts of coins. I have also watched the new or the updated White House clip of the decorations, and it's not the same ornament that I bought when Donald Trump was in office, and it's a gold star with a JFK Jr. JFK $50 in the middle of it, and it says White House official 2020 ornament on it that begins the video. And so I believe that we're going back to that standard. I have my theories on it. I also just recently watched Trump's visit to the Dallas church and went through the whole thing, and there were tons of comms on it. The pastor talking about how he and Trump are going to go walk through Texas and slug through the cities through 2 foot of silver coins. And then recently in my home state, they just closed these big places. So they were doing Real ID, and they had these mega locations where they were they just served 45,000 people in the last week, they said, or something, which doesn't make any sense. But that's a calm. President Trump is the 45th president. And they're closing these mega locations that are to be closed on the 7th of January, when you were saying the 7th.
Right.
Why? Because we're going to need new IDs, and these locations are set up in Tulsa and Oklahoma City. What are those new identifications for? So this new system rolling out, all of this. I mean, I could talk to you for hours. So SL is kind of giving me free reign in the chat. She's like, go ahead, let's talk about what does this banking shutdown look like. Also, my buddy Polik, that I do my Woo Wednesday show with, has been in landscaping for over 30 years. And I'm like, hey, did you just see that they said that the Russian Christmas tree was just delivered to Putin? And I sent him the video, and he goes, Lisa, that's not a landscaping truck. That truck carries heavy loads, not a tree. And that could have been carrying gold or silver. And then Cat Turd just tweeted after that, we just got our big delivery. And people are saying, then a video came out from Conspiracy Bot that talked about the towers coming down, and there was supposedly all the gold underneath the towers. And that's why Giuliani was sweating at that very last press briefing or whatever. Like, they used him all up to the end, and then they told him, we know what you did and all this. And so I believe this is what's going on, and that we're going to be moved to, only 4 presidents were assassinated, and all 4 of them were trying to put us back onto that gold or that silver standard.
That's it, yes. But they can't stop it now. We're already past the tipping point. And these are only the last couple of countries and that really need to get the silver and that, because everybody's ready. It's already up and running. And I absolutely believe it's our Christmas present and that's coming from Trump. It all has to start with you guys over there. You had to be the start of it. You are the birth, because your energy in next year is going to be the biggest energy. The United States, and that is going to become a United States. It's going to be the most powerful place.
Will it not only be the United States, but also is there a merging of Mexico and Canada when Trump talks about USMCA? Because on DJT Day, which is his initials 4/10/20, oil went negative. And on that day, he said, he did a negotiation with different countries. And he said, don't worry, Mexico will pay us back later in another way. Well, what's Mexico's biggest reserve? Silver. So we have all this oil.
Yes. And it's all good. Yeah.
It's all there. It's all there.
It is all going to be traded back, everything.
And we're all going to be better for it.
I can actually know because I've tuned in. Exactly. Everybody is going to be. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it's a farce. It's too much. We're not going to get all this giving and all this stuff and that. But we are. Actually, even from the very 1st of January, we're going to get here where it's free fuel and all our bills and that are going to be changed. And that can only come in when Trump has been properly announced back, that the public and everybody in every country. I can see it just after the Christmas period. I think between Christmas and New Year, I think it's definitely all back in before that. I don't think he can wait hardly another day. I think for him to wait until Christmas Day is going to be an absolute nightmare for him. His energy is charged up. He is ready. It's a time of truth and communication. He's kept stumped for such a long time, being in the background now. And now it's his time now to come out and speak. And he will be delivering it during that period in time. So for me, I can't wait, because I know then that everybody will then end up having it. And I know through my tuning in and what my guides say to me, they say that gold and silver will have freedom with it. So the revaluation of gold and silver is going to be in January, and it's all going to be around that 6. So I think that Trump is going to come back and he's going to make it the 6, because he's going to teach everybody a lesson. He's going to say, right, the 6 should have been my day. Now it's going to be my day, but you're going to remember it for the right reasons. And to be quite honest, that's why I was very surprised that Biden is still going on even now. Because they said to me a couple of weeks ago, they said, this is the end of Biden. And I go, what do you mean, he's going to be dead or he's going to be gone? And they said, that's the end of him and that. And it was just saying that, you know, he's been then basically.
They're just going to show that that's not really even him. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think
how will people transition through this? Like what cash, or because so many people use their bank account. They don't even, most typical people don't have cash, don't have crypto. Don't have coins. They have, you know, their CBDCs. How will people, will credit cards still work? How will people, will that Visa network still stay? Well, Visa uses Lightning.
Not for a couple of days, your credit cards and that won't work, because they have to still wake up the people and say, look, because they'll be saying, oh, well, it's just a little power cut, or it's just this. So they have to shock. I'm afraid it has to have drama with it, because if they don't, they'll fall back into it and then they won't believe it. And they'll say, oh, well, I didn't like Trump because of this, that, and the other. And so they need to have that wake up call to say that that's it. So you will definitely need some form of cash. So you will have to have some ready money. The trouble is the banks are not too happy about giving you anything at all. And you've got to have the 3rd degree to be able to take out some of your own cash now, or cash machines are not being filled up the same. But people will panic and they will get into it of trying to get some cash just to say they've got something, but their cards will only work for a limited period. It's only because we then have to withdraw the cards. So there's cards then will be eaten up in the machines, and that's so you'll get the new quantum cards. Yeah. And so that is your ID, that is your tracking system, that is everything.
And maybe that's when we go to those mega centers and get our
quantum
card or real identification.
Yeah, you know. They say there are hundreds of those across the world. So any country and anything. So after those, basically those couple of days, and that's to me why I think there's so much drama going on. And because Trump does seem to do everything with astrology. And I think the last couple of days of this month, I think that's where the the changeover will come. And that's why they then will be saying to you, right, in every single town, there's a place here where you can then still go and use it. You can go there and your card will be taken in, and then a new card will be put out, and it will be done your facial, your hand ID and that, and it will be just done through so that it's got, so they know who it is.
On
So
these
you've got
ITMs, they have a scanner and you're talking to someone. It has a screen where you're talking to someone, and then it has a coin dispenser.
Yes.
So you could be getting silver coins from it.
That's it. That's what you will be getting. You'll be getting silver coins and that from it. You can get gold as well. And so it will let you buy in some of the places, and that it will let you buy gold as well. You'll be able to get silver and gold from these machines now. And this is what I keep saying about the new technology. We'd have been used to going down and then seeing somebody in the bank and just getting things like that. And now you won't have to. There'll be no questions about your money, what you're doing with it, where you're doing it, how you want to store it. That'll be all completely and utterly down to you. It will give you the freedom to do it. And that's why I think that this next year is the most spiritual, uplifting year we can have, because it's taken us on to our own identity. So it's an amazing year for us. And I think to have this newfound freedom, and I think that's what's going to be hard for us, because we have to make our own choices. And this machine will be asking us questions and we'll be going, oh, I don't want to tell them everything like that. Why do I want to do this? But actually, it's our safety net. It's our I can't even say it now, protection for the rest of our life to put us in this place. So
when Trump comes back, he's revealing what's happening. So it's not that he's running for president. He's showing the corruption. So there's not a presidency to run for.
No, he won't need to.
He doesn't need to. And the people may never have a presidency again.
Never, they won't, because we're all going over now to common law.
True freedom.
So we're taking a new law, new freedom, and all our rules and regulations will come back with us as freedom.
It will be we the people.
Yeah, exactly. So he will
come back.
There'll be
things like DAOs formed, things like that, where communities will decide together. We'll go back to states. And then the states will decide the land of the law, and the people will make the rules and the laws of the states.
The people will, because you would just you will vote on it yourself. Everything will be done on technology, and even for Odins like me, we'll have to get used to it. It'll be done, but we'll just be able to speak it in, and we'll just be able to do it with our own voice, because it will know our voice and recognize us all the time of who we are. So we'll be able to vote for it and say, no, I don't agree with this. But nobody that's in government now will be still in government. There'll be literally a handful of people across the world, but very few. But all the big leaders will be gone. They've done their day.
Will the census be corrected?
Completely, absolutely, completely. Yes, everything will go back, and everything will start all over again. The right people with the right jobs, and the people will choose the right people to carry on and to do that. And we will know personally, we will know them personally, and they get 3 strikes. So if they do something we don't like in our area, we'll be able to say, oh, that's a strike against them. We'll be able to just speak it in, and that's a strike. And if they get 3 strikes, then they're out. They
can never be in leadership again.
No. So then have to keep an eye on and make sure that all the time, by getting things right, if the people are not happy, it's so this corruption can never change again, and no group of people can decide to take over and hypnotize us, because that's what we've been totally hypnotized. We follow suit, and look at all the sheep now, look at all the people, what they're all doing. They're all following everybody. So
it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's an exciting time to be alive right now. I appreciate your time. I know we kept you over, but it's really, really great information, and we appreciate you so much.
Yeah, let's do this another time, Susan.
Yes, I look forward to it. Thank you very much. I hope I haven't all driven you crazy by blabbering on too much anyway.
No,
But I will say to your viewers, if you do want appointments and that with me, Please don't ring me up and expect it done straight away. I've got no more appointments now till round about the 8th or 9th of January is the first appointments that I've got available. So it is going to be a little way off. And please fill in the details on the sheets that I put there, because if you don't fill it in, I don't know what your time zone is. So when you say to me, give you an appointment time, I'm trying to work it out so it's either your morning, afternoon, or evening. And if you don't fill it in at all, then I'm ringing you up in the middle of the night because I don't realize what country you're in. So I do people from all around the world. So if you can help me out and try either put it into UK time, because that's where I'm from, or not, if not, then just put down and say, your morning is 8 o'clock in the morning, my time, or 8 o'clock at night, my time. If you could do that, I'd be very grateful. Not being a technology whiz. I would like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a very prosperous and lucky New Year. I'm sure you're all going to get one in one shape or form. So, and thank you both for inviting me on. It has been a pleasure. I hope it's helped somebody.
Wonderful to meet you. SL will have her
Thank you.
links in the description of our videos. Is that correct?
Yes. I just put
that's
Susan's email website in the link.
I've got it. Okay. We'll see you guys next time. Merry Christmas to everybody and a happy, happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
And you too.